G'day punters, victims of the punt time. It's a massive weekend, day one of the championships lining up at Randwick, and here to join me to help us find a few more winners for this week is Mark Shean and Mark Rhoden. Mark Shean, 10 races of the best. What's the weather looking like outside?
The weather is very hot, not a cloud in the sky, so we will definitely have an improving track. We're still giving out a heavy 8 this morning, but you would expect it to be certainly in the slow range, but you never really know in Sydney.
Yeah, exactly right. Mark Rhoden, you've obviously been doing the form for probably the best part of 2 or 3 days now, looking at this meeting. What's your game plan just going into it?
Back winners and lay losers would be the game plan if I held a gun to my head. I think that, look, it won't be dry. I look at the forecast, it's actually quite a warm night. It's still going to be in the 20s, like overnight, or at least till midnight or something. So it's going to have every chance to improve, but it'll still be a bit affected. They raced on a heady 8 this meeting last year. Most winners actually came from the second half of the field, but the rails, there was nothing wrong with the rail either. So if that's the case, we can expect a pretty fair track, I hope anyway.
Okay. Just before we get into the meeting on Saturday, we obviously didn't have time for a review from Rosehill for the Vinery Stud and the Tancred. Mark Shean, was there any particular highlights on the day? I mean, probably the main thing that stood out to me was when Rob's message came through from the mounting yard regarding Sir Dragonet. He said walks today, and that was obviously a clear improvement on what he'd been doing for the entire of this preparation.
Well, the previous run, he was going on like a pork chop in the yard. He was jig-jogging sideways, and I thought it was a ring in there on last Saturday. He was walking around calm as anything, and he raced accordingly. So big for the yard watch there, and I think the yard watch has been very important in Sydney through the last couple of weeks. Horses melting, horses looking better or going backwards, and Sir Dragonet was certainly one that had improved.
And just getting your thoughts on the Doncaster prelude. Obviously, Yao Dash, gapped the rest of the field, but did look quite suited given the day off that fast tempo.
Well, the track was a bit of a joke. It was basically a one-lane highway. Canterbury followed up pretty similar on Wednesday, unfortunately. So, yes, Yao Dash was impressive, but he gets a wet track on Saturday and probably gets a bit more pressure. So I'm not sure that I'd be wanting to back him myself in the Doncaster.
And Mark Rhoden, you had a joyful day. I think your 3 best on this show last week all saluted at over 100 to, well, it was even greater than that, wasn't it? But anyway, it was in triple figures if you took the treble, which I think 1 or 2 people might have, so good work on their part. But you had a really good collect there with Hungry Heart, amongst others, Nimmerley as well. And
Shared Ambition, I hope someone took that treble. I didn't, but well played to anyone who did. As Mark sort of alluded to there, the story of the day was the Dynamite Rail. I mean, 6 metres, you can expect it on pace sort of pattern, but that was one right out of the block. So, it wasn't just leaders, but, things well off the lead that were rails and run were significantly advantaged over those that were even 1 off the fence in most cases, which I think gives a lot of merit to the run of Hungry Heart and the Vinery. The only horse to really do what she did all day, come from last and never be near the rail. So that was tremendous performance. But I'm not penning the grey filly either, Harmony Rose. I mean, the pattern did suit her, but it looked a walk on paper, and they actually ran along. If they hadn't run along, Hungry Heart would have had no chance. But I thought she was the run of the day.
But that was a suicidal pace, wasn't it? I don't understand why he went so fast on her. He went, I think, 2 or 3 seconds faster than the other 2,000 metre races on the day. In a race that looked to be no speed, to go fast was just madness.
Well, against that, the other 2,000 metres were really slowly run. They were complete walks. Maybe he was just trying to get rid of, he thought the pattern would get him home and he was just trying to get rid of the opposition. It unfortunately for him played into the hands of the winner, but it was still a big run by Hungry Heart, I think.
Yeah, it was just 12.1 lengths fast for the class there to the 600, so just a little bit of a tempo. Mark Shean, did you have any horses to follow from last Saturday?
I had something on a thing in the first. I backed Conrad, who looked disgraceful in the yard, so that's another one where, you go to the race expecting them to look good and it looked horrendous. Mr. Mozart Now, he did a few things wrong in the run. I actually backed him when he won midweek at Warwick Farm. He was jumping from 11 to 14, but he put up an outstanding performance. He was 5 wide all the way on that leader's track, and he still picked himself up in the straight to go past a couple. So I thought he was certainly one to follow. And away from that, that's about it, really.
Just be forgiving of those horses that were, in some cases even one off the fence, because it was really that pronounced.
Okay. That's the review from last weekend. Obviously, we'll also just mention Rob Scurry, who's not here with us on the preview show, but he is absolutely flying at the moment. His last 4 meetings he's collected, and that included a Wednesday at Warwick Farm, but he's just absolutely dominating in the Saturday class at the moment. So his mounting yard assessment is absolutely crucial for this time of year. But we'll have a look at Randwick for this Saturday. The championships will start off with race 5. We'll run through to race 10. So we're looking at some of the feature races in a little bit more detail. The Chairman's Quality, the Group 2 over 2,600 will kick us off in race 5. In terms of the market, we're looking at horses in the top end, such as, this is not in number order, so forgive me if I'm all over the place, but Sacramento around 460, Salino $6, Hush Rider at 8, and then you're going out to double figures. So, Mark Shean, I'll give you the new ball. Anything that takes your eye on the Chairman's?
Actually, no. I don't really like this race. The track conditions have got me a bit worried. I was very keen to back Sacramento if he got an improving track, but I still think it might be a touch too wet for him. Look, I thought Salino and Rondinella were okay the other day, but it's not a race I really want to get involved in. I think they have a different winner every week in these staying races, and I've just woken up to that.
Mark Rhoden, is that typically your thoughts as well, the stayers?
It's not appetising at first glance, so I'm going wider for betting angles. I don't want to back anything in single figures. Mirage Dancer, shocking in the Tancred last start. But if you forgive that, blinkers go on. His best 24, he's a Caulfield Cup place getter, Metropolitan winner. His best 21 metre form, and this is 26, but I think he ran 3rd in this last year as well. But his best form in this distant range would eat these, so we're getting $10. I would give him one more chance. And I thought Rondinella was terrific last time, just absolutely torched. Took off, ridden out of the gates, which is unusual for it. Was up punching on 3 wide, then got a bit of cover, but then took off 4 wide and faded late. Her best ever run was actually at 2,400 metres a couple of years ago on soft ground when she was placed in the Tancred. Look, she might be past her best now. She might be a lot of other days, but limit weight, barrier 4 for a soft run and $13, I could have something on her as well. But look, if they ran second last and last, I wouldn't be surprised either. It's that kind of race. Okay,
let's have a look at the sires. Race 6, 1,400 metres for the 2-year-olds. Animo, favourite, $1.90 for Coolmore Jim, now riding back in Godolphin McDonald, Shake James something. $1.90 odds on. 4 moves ahead is $5.50. Then you're out to Lightsaber and Halal at around $9.50 to $10. Mark Shean, Animo's popped up in quite a few of these races so far this carnival. Are you on his side? Is he a back or a lay at that price?
Look, I think just on form he looks hard to beat. The only negative you could have is that he's been in 2 races where he's had a fast pace with Profiteer leading his last 2 runs and a fast pace in the Blue Diamond. He goes to a race here where the tempo won't be anywhere near as quick. So that is the only stumbling block, I would say. He did sweat up very badly as he went onto the track the other day, and just wondering how much that slipper run took out of him. So I think he's a bit of a yard watch for me. I don't know if I want to back something to beat him, though. 4 moves ahead will probably get a softer run here, and just maybe the 4 weeks between in a fast run race was a bridge too far. I think she'll posse up in a good spot here, and if Animo parades poorly, I'll probably be on 4 moves ahead.
Okay, Mark Rhoden, any angle in the sides for yourself?
Not a betting angle at this stage. I see the race very similarly to Mark, actually. I mean, at first glance, Animo picks himself off that slashing run in the slipper, but as Mark noted, that was a very fast run race, and there doesn't look to be much speed here. So it is a different setup. Look, you should be a lot closer than a run against that, but it's just something you consider if you want to take odds on. And it's a thing that stops me wanting to take that shorter price. And completely agree that Form is ahead. It could even, box seat here, finally gets that cover and a soft run that she may have been looking for. She was taken right out of her comfort zone and may have been found out in the Golden Slipper that she's not absolutely top class, but she may not have to be to win this. Just with a much softer run, close to the speed, she could win. Against that, I don't think $5 is massive value. And Lightsaber, who walked him around in the VRC size, could be a chance to do it again. He beats Safe, who came out and won last week. Admittedly, Safe had all favours, but the form line is okay, and his map is probably much better than any other horse in the race. So, yeah, they're the three chances for me in that order, but that's pretty much the market order as well.
Yeah, Lightsaber was the one that I'd be keen to get Rob's thoughts on the day. He's quite a sensible type, nice strong thing, but obviously it sets his own luck. And Peter Moody's returned to training as if he never left. So I'm expecting that the gap between runs is of no obstacle for that horse. Race 7 on the card, the Australian Derby, 2400. Montefilia is favourite from Skylab. And then you've got Lions, Raw and Quay rounding out the horses in single figures, but I'm sure that doesn't necessarily end there. Mark Shean, what are you thinking?
Yeah, well, I'm still on Skylab's back. 4 weeks between runs there, drawn a bit better than the Rosehill Guineas. Can probably take his time and not take off as early, so I just think he probably pushed the button a bit early there the other day and gave the drag into the race to Moanga. So 2 weeks between runs now. He's got good soft form. Montefilia, obviously a good wet tracker, but probably short enough now at 5-2. Thought Quay might be an improver here, probably too close to the lead the other day, and if it's ridden a little bit more conservatively, I think it could be an improver, but Skylab for me.
Okay. Mark Rhoden, your thoughts on the Derby?
Yeah, similar again. I've got Montefilia on top, but I think 370 is best, and that's too short for me. I believe the intention is to ride it closer, which I think is a good move from barrier 4. So I've got it on top, but not a bet at this point. Skylab, I have very close to her, and I think is slightly better value at this stage. Sorry about this. Drawn a lot better than he was in the Guineas. Skylab was exposed too early there. A great chance. $5 is about what I'd want to take. I'd rather take $5 Skylab than 370 Montefilia, but I do have them pretty close together. And yeah, Quay was the other one for me. Just ridden far too warm in the Guineas and was left in front a long way out. From barrier 3, expect a more conservative ride, and I think he can get his chance. He showed signs last spring that he was up to this level. He was good first up and then exposed too early, or hit the front too early last time. So in the race as well. But if I was betting, it'd be Skylab and Quay, but I expect Montefilia to run well as well.
Just a quick question on the front man, Mark Shean. How did that horse parade last Saturday?
He looked okay, but I don't know about that New Zealand Derby form. It looks to be horrendous. Milford's got lapped. The front man trialled poorly before he ran the other day and ran about the same as he trialled.
Yeah.
And Yaletown won that race, but Zach Speeder was 100-1, was right up there, their hammer there at the finish, and a bunch finish. So Young Werther, I hadn't seen him before. He didn't overly grab me in the yard, but he's on a quick backup. He is unknown in the wet. I suppose he was out in the worst part of the track there, out wide. So maybe he could be an improver, but I'd want to see him in the yard because he didn't really grab me last week.
Interestingly, I think the last 4 Tulloch Stakes winners have won the
Yes, they have.
Week after, but I would be surprised if Yaletown made it 5 because he had all favours in, as you said, it was a pretty weak race last week. But yeah, just an interesting stat.
No, it did jump up last year, didn't it? Quick Thinker and Zabrowski, and they Cornellaed the race, and
They did, yes.
I think most people thought, that is not the form, but it turned out it was again.
Yep, good day.
I guess in Yaletown's favour, he looks to get pretty much all favours here once again, just by courtesy of the fact that he goes forward. But anyway, we'll see how the day's unfolding to that point. Might be one to have something on, especially early or in run, if that's your way inclined. Race 8. The TJ, 1,200 metres. We've got Nature Strip just shading Bivouac for favouritism. Then Eduardo, Masked Crusader and Libertini round out those in single figures. Mark Shean, Nature Strip versus Eduardo. Who do you think holds the front here?
I think Nature Strip will lead, and probably Eduardo will sit outside him, and Bivouac, if he jumps, should roll up into a handy position behind them now that Hawtrey on Her's come out. So they probably look to dominate the speed early, I would say. So Nature Strip probably finds the inside, or goes where he wants to early, and Eduardo with the shot outside him. Haven't been on Eduardo yet, but I think at the prices, at the way it stands at the moment, I'd have to back him if he parades as well as he did the other day. Nature Strip, obviously, it's got very good wet form in Sydney with a win in this race last year, heavy and a slow, Galaxy win as well. Obviously, he'll be there, hard to beat, but I'm just with a price factor on Eduardo.
Okay, Mark Rhoden, you're getting over the odds for Nature Strip according to your old fabled rule. Are you going to stick with it here, or are you opting to go against?
I think I will stick with it. Yeah. It was actually in this race last year that he pulled out one of those runs that he can, which will win just about any sprinter in Australia. So at 5-2, yep, I won't back him to retire or anything, but I'll have something on him, I think. I could. He's just shortened up a bit with the scratching, Eduardo, but this is a different horse, this preparation. Would not be at all surprised to see him beat Nature Strip again. And at around $5, he was a saver for sure. He's just coming to about $4.40 now, but I probably don't want to lose on him, so I might just save my stake on him. Bivouac's really tightened up. I think, prefer him on dry. He's run okay on soft, but I think he's through the roof. Ratings have been on dry tracks, so he's certainly drawn a lot better today than he was last time when Sabastiano beat him. And his best is certainly good enough, but I'd want the track to improve significantly before I considered him. And I really think those three are almost a class above the others. Masked Crusader is now a Group 1 winner. He's threatened to make this step for a long time, but this is the absolute best of the best of Group 1s now. And whether he and Libertini and those sort of horses are there, September runs in the same boat, I think. I think they're just a half a level off them at this point.
Yeah, I also note that both Masked Crusader and September Run paraded absolutely at top. Perfect walk. Could not knock them whatsoever last start there at Moonee Valley. Zatori was just at top, walking well. They're the ones that I'll be looking at to see if there's any improvement from Rob's point of view, because obviously he's got a pretty good handle on September Run, the Wallace stable, full stop. But certainly September Run wasn't suited last start at Moonee Valley. Masked Crusader probably was. Let's go to race 9, the Doncaster over the mile. In terms of the market, Mugatu is favourite from Mwanga, and then you've got everything else in double figures. So if you don't like either of the favourites, there's plenty to go on here. Mark Shean, I'll start with you.
Yeah, a lot will depend on track pattern. We saw Natoya come from last to win this race last year. The Private Steers come from last to win it as well. So normally they do run along in these big miles. There is a bit of traffic, but sometimes you get the luck as well. I'm going to have something on Cascadian. I know he needs luck, but he had no luck in this race last year. He's a very good wet tracker. He was out in the slow lane at Rosehill. Represent value to me. I'm also going to back Forbidden Love. She's a good wet tracker, got 49.5, a 3-year-old in this race. And I'll cut out on Mugatu. So for good wins, Cascadian and Forbidden Love, and cut out Mugatu.
Do I dare ask what the speed map looks like, Mark Shean?
Well, I think Dash will probably go forward in the early stages, and I'm sure that there'll be plenty other speed there. Shout the Bar and Samadat will have to go forward from Whitish Gate, so I'd expect that run along. Okay.
Mark Rhoden, what are you thinking?
Yep, I think the tempo will be good enough, and for that reason, Cascadian's one of mine too. You know, never wins, but from 3, hopefully not. Oh, look, it'll be back, but hopefully within striking distance, and like last year, being near the fence hopefully won't be a disadvantage, especially on an improving track. So if Jamie, can negotiate the traffic on Cascadian, I think it can win the race, and I think it's over the odds. Has tightened up a little bit since yesterday, I noticed in some places, but still a bet. And if it stays 7-ish, I think Avilius as well. He had a checkered passage behind Think It Over last time. And he's one that the compression of the weight scale has suited a bit. He's only got 56, which I don't think he's too badly in, considering his record. It suited the extra 100 metres from the rider too as a plus, and Randwick's a plus compared to Rosehill for him. I think all of those things are ticks. So the Godolphin stablemates at double figure odds will do me. Mugger 2 was terrific. That was a great race at Moonee Valley. He was fence in run for most of the race though, which was a plus by then, I think. So just at 440, I could bet around him. I think Mwanga from with the gate and the jockey change doesn't look a great bet at single figure odds to me either. Think it over, I think he's absolutely flying, but gate 18, I'd rather it was 8 than 18. So, that's enough to sort of put me off him. But no, the two Godolphins for me, Avilius and Cascadian.
Do you think there's a few holes in this market? There's quite a few horses between sort of that $10 to $20 range that arguably should be longer, I would have thought. I mean, Funstar, for instance, $17, Blinker's first time, drawn sticky,
That smacks of desperation, the Blinkers, to me.
Yeah.
I mean, how long, how often can you keep pricing off, the 3-year-old fillies numbers?
Yeah.
I'm sick of it. I backed it last start and I'm never, ever, ever doing it again.
Even Aegon, synthetic will fill a first start, $11, $12, and, both figures. Yeah.
Too short. I mean, we think that the 3-year-old form's pretty dicey this year anyway, and he's terribly weighted. 3 kilos off the top as a nothing special 3-year-old. That's horrendous, really.
Yeah. Okay. Nonetheless, interesting race. Can't wait to see what the yard throws up. Chaotic as always. We'll round off with with race 10, the PJ Bell Stakes for the 3-year-old fillies over 1200, Group 3. In terms of the market, Never Talk is favourite from Makrura and Marbusha. Marbusha, disappointing last start there, Mark Shean?
Yeah, I thought she was a bit one-paced. Suppose she hasn't quite ticked that 1,200 metre box yet. I thought she was probably looking for it the way she won at Flemington. I'm not sure if, they'd gone easy on her after she came back from Melbourne. She seemed to parade okay. So, yeah, a bit of a head-scratcher for me. I thought she'd probably gone to another level after she won at Flemington, but I wouldn't say she's hopeless here by the same token.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's a particularly deep race. What did you come up with on top?
Look, I think Never Talk's the one to beat if it gets luck, but it's a back marker and it's going to need a lot of things to go its way, but it does race very well fresh and is definitely the best wet tracker in this field. So if it's in the slow range or if it's heavy, there's no concern there with her. So it's just traffic problems, I think, with her. She should have beaten every rose a couple of starts ago. She went to 1,400 behind Forbidden Love, and 1,400's not a go. Looking at her, she looks like a greyhound. So I think she'd be better suited coming back to 1,200 with the freshen up.
Okay.
I think every rose could be an improver, though. Wasn't able to muster enough speed to lead there the other day, and maybe from 18 alley she'd be able to ping out and come across. I think she might improve, and I'd put Marbusha in for third, but with Never Talk. But obviously they've got to be running on for her to be winning on the day.
Okay. Mark Rhoden, your thoughts on the PJ?
Yeah, I like Never Talk. I was hoping it would get around 420 or better. That seems to have dried up overnight. So for the reasons Mark said, I don't... back markers aren't my go, as a general rule. Much rather be with an on-pacer. So I'd want to get my price before I back there. But that said, I've got a quite nicely clear. I think the soft ground suits her, and there seems to be a lot of speed on paper here, and that suits her as well. So she's got to be on top, but look, I could let it go if she just stays around the 380 range. I don't have to back her as a back marker. Yeah, Marbusha, first up peak down the straight on dry. Was it because it was on dry? Was that the problem? Because she looked the winner at the turn, I thought, last start, and she just didn't let down. She was quite disappointing, I thought. If she returns to that figure she showed at Flemington, she can win for sure, but she's a question mark, and there's nothing else I really want to back. I think Najma's got a bit of promise, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if Pressure 1200 completely got rid of her. I think Matura's always overrated by the market. Every race, yes, could improve. Matchmaker's a horse I've got a bit of time for, but it's drawn terribly again, and it's $11 is rock bottom given all the circumstances too. So I'll just be monitoring this market, and if they want to risk never talk a bit, bet 440 or 460 or something, they'll probably flush me out. But at this stage, don't have to bet.
Okay, very good. That brings us to the end. I'll get a couple of best players, value players, any lay bets you're considering at this stage. Mark Shean, I'll start with yourself.
Yeah, look, I think it's a hard day, and the best bets have been going like delays recently, so Rhoden's the man to follow. Look, I know it's got a bad barrier in race 2, but I've been really impressed with Kiku. I know it is coming from midweek company, but her sectionals, the last 2 wins have been astronomical with me. So she's going to need some luck, but I think she's on the improve and handles the going, and I'm going to have something on her. So I'm hoping they're winning off the fence, obviously, for her to be winning. And Adrian Knox, I think Rachel missed the boat badly on flexible at the Kenzo last meeting. It was in a dirty mood going onto the track, though, that mare. So, again, probably a yard watch. But she was a bit dirty going onto the track, and Rachel couldn't seem to get her going at the right time. So I think it can be an improver going to 2,000 flexible in race 4.
Okay, very good. Mark Rhoden, your 3-leg all up, please. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, not as bullish this week, I have to say. I'd say... Oh, gee, I don't know. I absolute bet. Look, I'd have the 2 value play races. The 2 bets in each of 2 races. Mirage Dancer and Rondinella in the Chairman's, and Avilius and Cascadian in the Doncaster. I was going to say Nature Strip's my best, but 5 to 2's about the sure if I want to take him. All those things last week I thought were all good bets and good prices, but there's not one jumping out at me like that this week, to be honest. I wanted to find Kiku like Mark, but at this stage the barriers put me off, so I'll have to have a look at race 1 first. But I'm a fan of her.
Okay, very good. Well, there's plenty of time between now and race day, obviously. You've been flying over the last couple of weeks, so really looking forward to having a look at your speed maps, rated prices, and then getting race-to-race updates. Been really enjoying it, just trying to chip away at my own Sydney form, my own dirty Sydney form in the background. So I'll be marrying that up and seeing how we go, because it's a monster day. It's hard not to get involved when the racing is as good as this. All the best to you both. We'll catch up on Monday to review it with Rob Scurry, who's hopefully coming off another fill. He can make it 5 from 5 or whatever he's going for. Until then, guys, go well. Enjoy the day.
Thanks a lot, mate.